Day 7 of winter testing is done. Done and dusted. 1 day left until testing is finished. Testing is over tomorrow and times are dropping. Drama is continuing to ensue on track and off track in the YouTube world, but today we're focusing on some big times from the big teams, some big times from smaller teams, and some drama from about every team on the grid today. So let's just jump straight into it. No messing around today. Times. Starting off with the times, then we'll talk about the laps, then we'll talk about the goings on of the day. Charles Leclerc, a 1:16.2. Last week, me and Sean did a little prediction of where times would be. I said a 1:15.9 come the end of the week. He said a 1:15.5, and I think both of us on Tuesday of this week were thinking, it's not really looking like we're getting anywhere. Yesterday, we were just about getting into that low 1:17s, but today, Leclerc, Albon, both of them getting into the 1:16s. Leclerc, like I said, a 1:16.2, a mega lap from the Ferrari driver, a 1:16.8 for Albon, another really good lap for Albon. I will say these times, when I mean they're good for testing, they're good compared to the other times we've seen so far. But obviously when we get onto the circuit at Albert Park, and also by the time we get to Spain, round 5 of the season, these times probably won't be that great. But Leclerc's time today would have put him half a second away from pole position last year. So Ferrari will be chuffed with that indeed. However, as we'll talk about later, it wasn't a completely smooth day for them, but they managed to get 138 laps on the board after yesterday's, well, I want to call it a calamitous day. Sebastian Vettel, big crash yesterday. We did find out that one of his tyres was hit by a foreign object, caused him to swerve off into the barriers. Not a fault from Ferrari, not a technical issue. Foreign object, you can't control that. So that was the reason the official reason we have been told from Ferrari. So the fact that they were able to get out today, put in a solid lap and a solid lap time and solid laps is a real bonus for them. Albon, like I say, in P2, just behind, 6 tenths behind actually, with a 1:16.8. Then came Norris. These are the drivers that didn't get into the 1:16, but Norris and Gasly, 3rd and 4th, both super close. A 1:17.084 for Norris and a 1:17.091 for Gasly. Really close for those two. Ricciardo just 2 tenths off as well with a 1:17.2. His teammate right behind him, Nico Hülkenberg, a 1:17.4. And then came Lance Stroll, 1:17.5. All of these laps, by the way, brilliant. It's great to see that all the times are tumbling, and all of these times now would get these cars into Q3 using last year's qualifying data. So that's brilliant to see. Behind Lance Stroll was Giovinazzi in Alfa Romeo, a 1:17.6. Then came Grosjean. You can see just 16 laps. When we proper dive into the laps in a minute, we'll go into that one because that is shocking. That's almost as low as Williams in the opening few days. So yes, a 1:17.8 for Grosjean. Then came Hamilton, a 1:18.097, which actually I think could be one of the better lap times of the day. And then George Russell was 11th place, and then behind George Russell you had Kevin Magnussen in 12th and Bottas in 13th. But those two couldn't fit on the screen, unfortunately. But Russell, a 1:18.1, almost in the 1:17s for Williams, so they'll be happy with that. But Hamilton's lap, just want to quickly mention that one was set on the C3 tyres. Tyre data is always difficult to source, and today it seems all over the place. And while I could find a handful of drivers' tyres, not all of them. So I didn't want to put them up there and make it look messy, but most notably, Russell was on the C4, Hamilton the C3. Hamilton's lap, like I say, the C3, all of above Hamilton were on softer compounds. So that is really positive signs for Mercedes to be on that tyre and still fighting that higher. Magnussen was on the development 3 tyres. Don't worry about tyres. It's not a biggie, but those were your fastest times of the day. Moving on to laps completed, 138, like I just quickly mentioned, for Leclerc. He did cause a red flag in the afternoon, but again, wasn't a biggie for Ferrari, able to get going and put in a few more laps. 118 for Albon, really solid running once again from Toro Rosso, not only putting in those laps, but high up on the leaderboard, so they'll be happy with that. Norris, 84. That's an okay job. Usually I'd be a little bit disappointed with that. However, looking at most of the other teams that went out today, actually it's not terrible for McLaren. Again, near the top of the timesheet. So, as I mentioned in the first week, they are one of the biggest surprises for me so far in testing. So, again, they'll be happy with that. Gasly, just 65 laps completed. Another huge crash in week 2 of testing. Another big crash for Pierre Gasly. Crashed early on in the afternoon session, around turn 9, I believe it was. Mega crash for Gasly. Wasn't able to get out in the afternoon. That's now him completely done for running. There's a few drivers now that won't do any running until Melbourne. 2 big incidents for Gasly in the 2 weeks. He will be, well, kicking himself for sure, but that's definitely putting on a little bit of pressure that I don't think was there going into testing, and I don't think was there going into the season, because the majority of Formula 1 fans not only expect him to be a number 2, but there's a good portion of fans that believe that, well, Max Verstappen's going to destroy him. It's not an opinion I necessarily agree with. I think Verstappen's the better driver of the two, but I think Gasly is going to be able to hold his own. But 2 incidents in testing is something that, like I say, pressure will be on now. People will be looking out for that. And how is he going to perform? How is he going to bounce back from these 2 incidents? So that's going to be one that we can look forward to seeing in Melbourne. 65 laps as well as Gasly completed by, well, the guy Gasly replaced, Daniel Ricciardo. However, they split the day, did Renault, with Nico Hülkenberg completing 73 laps. So as you can see in brackets, 138 laps completed in total for Renault. A solid job, the same amount completed as Ferrari. Behind them, Lance Stroll, they finally did it. Racing Point with just 2 days left on Lance Stroll's final outing before Melbourne. They finally hit 100 laps. Brilliant stuff for Racing Point. It's been really annoying me. It's been triggering me throughout the week, the fact that they haven't hit 100 laps. But 103 for Lance Stroll. So just about made it. But that really did put a little smile on my face. So brilliant for them. Giovinazzi just 71 laps in Alfa Romeo. I think they'll be a little disappointed with that. However, they have been one of the more positive teams, and I suppose adventurous teams over winter testing, consistently putting in over 100 laps. So the fact that today hasn't been the best, yesterday again wasn't brilliant, but still no major issues for the team. So big thumbs up again for Alfa Romeo, although I would say today was probably their worst testing so far, but again, not major cause for concern for Alfa Romeo. Grosjean, 16 laps completed. Oh, blimey, was I a little bit nervous going into the afternoon session. So, as you can see, 69 laps total for Haas today. Magnussen in the morning did the majority of the laps. However, well, 53 laps in total. However, in the afternoon, Grosjean just never came out until the last half an hour, and it was revealed that there was an issue with the exhaust that the team had found out during the lunch break, and the team thought, no, it's not ideal to put him out there on circuit, which I understand for the team. They'll be annoyed at this. They will be absolutely annoyed at this. Only just 2 laps behind Alfa Romeo, so am I going to slam into him that hard? I think I've got to, because not only is this not enough laps again from Haas, but it's another issue. I think they've had the most red flags due to mechanical issues of anyone. And let me just point out, I just wanted to quickly mention with Lance Stroll, he did cause a red flag in the afternoon. Not one of his fault. It was just mechanical issues. So the first one there for Racing Point. But as I did say initially with Haas, you'd rather the issues happen now. However, Haas is getting out of hand. This is multiple red flags they've caused. I think they're probably around about 6 or 7 now. That is not ideal going into Melbourne. So 69 laps completed for Haas, 181 for Mercedes. Blimey, complete switch of fortune. 85 for Hamilton and 96 for Valtteri Bottas. Brilliant job from the Mercedes boys. Again, Hamilton's lap, not representative on my particular graph, but on the tyres he was on, actually, very impressive from Mercedes once again. This new aero package that they bought a couple of days ago to week 2, working well on that car. Might not be the best looking, but it seems to be doing the trick. And George Russell, 140 laps completed for Williams. A 118.1, as I mentioned earlier. another solid day for Williams. They will be happy with this. It's progress, it's going forward, and I don't think it's quite as doom and gloom as we all expected. That was your winter testing day 7 roundup. Tomorrow is the final day. At the weekend you will see a full roundup of testing. Who do I think is where? What is the pecking order? Then we'll be into season previews for each team, and then the Albert Park GP will be here. Round 1 of the 2019 season is so close now. Hopefully you will join me for the 2019 season. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.